Okay, good morning, students. In this class, we will uh, discuss about the power plant cycles again. So, in the last class, if you remember, we learned what are the four essential units of a power plant, thermal power plant, and they are a boiler followed by a turbine, that's a steam turbine, then there will be a condenser, and then there will be pump. And whenever the working substance, which is water or steam, goes past a particular unit, say it boiler or turbine, then it undergoes a change of state or undergoes a process. Now those processes are arranged in the form of a sequentially in the form of a cycle, and that cycle will be called a Rankine cycle. Now, so today we will be drawing three diagrams. One is the flow diagram where the units are arranged and the flow of the working substance is shown. That we have done already in the last class. And then we will draw the TS diagram. This also we did in the last class, and we will translate that cycle, that is the Rankine cycle, from a TS plane to an HS plane. Okay, so this is our block diagram. It starts with a boiler. The job of the boiler is to generate steam. Then the steam which is generated at high pressure will go to the turbine. From the turbine it will come to the condenser, and from the condenser it will go to the pump and will feed back to the boiler again. So this is the pump, this is the boiler, this is the turbine, and this is the condenser. And this is how the working substance will move from one unit to the other. If you represent these processes that the steam or water will undergo in a TS diagram, then the TS diagram will look like this. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1 to 2 is a reversible constant pressure heat addition process, and this 1 to 2 is happening inside the boiler. So this is 1 and this is 2. 2 to 3 is a reversible adiabatic expansion of steam that occurs inside the turbine, and this is where we get the work 2 to 3. So this is 2 and this is 3. Then 3 to 4 is the process in which the steam rejects heat and becomes water. That means it is a constant pressure, reversible constant pressure heat rejection process. 3 to 4, and that occurs inside the condenser. And 4 to 1 is a reversible adiabatic compression process. So there is an expansion process, there is a compression process, there is a heat addition process, and there is a heat rejection process. This is how the TS diagram is done. Then if you represent the processes in HS diagram, now you know the dome in TS diagram is like this in HS diagram, and the constant pressure lines which are like this with a step in between. During the phase change, pressure remains constant, temperature remains constant, so there is a flat. But in case of an HS diagram, the enthalpy doesn't remain constant, rather the enthalpy increases as the water becomes vapor or steam. So the in HS diagram the constant pressure line moves monotonically. Okay, so the constant pressure lines will be like this. So if this is a pressure line P1, this is a pressure line P2, then this is P1 and this is P2, and this cycle will be represented like this. This is 1 to 2 boiler, 2 to 3 turbine, 3 to 4 condenser, and 4 to 1 pump. So the same processes which are taking place in the cycle when the working substance, I am telling working substance because in some place it is water and in some place it is steam. So while entering to the boiler it is water only. What comes out of the boiler is steam, high pressure steam. What goes to the turbine is steam. What comes out of the turbine is also steam. what goes to the condenser is steam, and what comes out of the condenser is again condensed steam or water. So at some places the working substance is in liquid phase, and at some places it is in vapor phase or in the steam form. So what I am trying to tell you is that when the working substance goes past a particular unit, say 1 to 2, it undergoes a change of state, and that is represented here 1 to 2. 1 to 2. When it goes past the turbine, it's a reversible adiabatic expansion of steam. So that is represented by, across the turbine it is represented by 2 to 3, 2 to 3, 2 to 3. It's a reversible adiabatic expansion process, therefore is an isoentropic process. We know when a process is reversible and adiabatic both, then it is isoentropic. Isoentropic, therefore it is a vertical line. Similarly, the pump is also isoentropic compression process, so it is a vertical line again. Now 3 to 4 is the process in which heat is rejected by the steam, because unless the steam rejects it, it cannot become liquid. So the liquefaction is required. So water comes back to, the steam comes back to the end of the condenser, or comes out of the condenser as liquid water, and this is the amount of heat that it rejects. So these are the three important diagrams that you need to understand thermodynamically, the meaning of each diagram and what the notations stand for, etc. Okay, like for example, this what is 1, what is 2, what is 1 to 2, what is 2 to 3, what is 3 to 4, what is 4 to 1. Okay, so you have to remember, you have to understand these three diagrams very clearly. Now you see what happens. We will now see how to find out the technical things that are essential in a power plant. For what are the technical things, like how much heat is added to water in order to make it steam. Now look at this. When it was going to the boiler, then it is water. When it comes out of the boiler, it is steam. So what you did so that 1 became 2, 1 became 2, you must have supplied some amount of heat. What is the amount of heat, and where that heat has gone? That heat has gone, that is thermal energy, it has gone into the system, and it has been stored in the system in the form of enthalpy. So enthalpy has been raised from H1 to H2 in the boiler. Okay, so if I ask you now, what is the amount of heat supplied to water in the boiler QB, that is equal to H2 minus H1. So if somehow you can find out the value of enthalpy at point 2 and the value of enthalpy at point 1, then the difference of these two will give you the water, the amount of heat required to be given as input in the boiler in order to transform into steam. Alright. Similarly, if I ask what happens inside the turbine, in the turbine steam expands reversibly and adiabatically. So what does it do? If something expands, then it does positive work. So what is the work done? H2 minus H3. So work done in the turbine is H2 minus H3, and this is positive work because H2 is the steam which has got higher enthalpy content, and H3 is the steam which has got lower enthalpy content. So this the enthalpy of steam in the turbine drops from H2 to H3. So where this much of enthalpy has gone? So if this enthalpy drop has been actually appearing in the form of WT, or useful mechanical work output. Okay, so work output is H2 minus H3. This is the work output in the turbine, and you know turbine is a power giving or work giving device. How much work does it give? H2 minus H3. Similarly, what happens in the condenser? While entering to the condenser, the enthalpy content is H3. While coming out of the condenser, enthalpy content is H4. So there is a drop in enthalpy, and this drop in enthalpy is nothing but the release of, that is the amount equivalent to release of heat or removal of heat, which makes the steam water. Okay, so heat lost in the condenser QC is H3 minus H4. 4. It is the heat lost by the steam in the condenser. Similarly, what is the work that is given as input in the pump is H1 minus H4. So from this you can find out anything that you are asked. If you can find out the enthalpy values at point 1, 2, 3 and 4, then all other things will be can be calculated. Like if I ask you what is the amount of heat required in the boiler, H2 minus H1. What is the amount of work done by the turbine, H2 minus H3. What is the amount of heat rejected by steam in the condenser, H3 minus H4. And what is the amount of pump work required is H1 minus H4. Okay. So what is the net work? Net work is W net. W net work is turbine work minus pump work. So H2 minus H3 whole thing minus H1 minus H4, that will give you the net work. But in a Rankine cycle power plant or in a thermal power plant, the magnitude of turbine work the magnitude of input work in the pump is so small compared to the magnitude of output work in the turbine that in many cases the input work is neglected. The pump work is neglected, or pump work is considered to be negligible in comparison to the turbine output work. So WP in many cases is much less than WT. So very often we neglect the magnitude of pump work because it is so small compared to the turbine work. Suppose when you solve a problem, this turbine work comes out to be 800 kilojoules, but the pump work will come out to be 3 kilojoules, 4 kilojoules. So 3 is negligible in comparison to 800 kilojoules. So pump work is neglected. So net work in most of the cases, unless and otherwise it is mentioned or you are specifically asked to find out pump work, don't bother about the pump work, neglect the pump work. But you are neglecting what you are neglecting? You are neglecting only the pump work, not the presence of the pump or existence of the pump in the circuit. The pump has to be there, because when the steam expands from this high pressure to low pressure and thereby does some work, the condenser also gives you liquid water at that pressure. So this pressure, condenser pressure, is much lower than the boiler pressure. So when the pressure is very low and the boiler is at a very high pressure level, how to transport water from a low pressure region to a high pressure region? You have to use a pump. So pump is a pressure boosting device. So it is this pump which is an essential unit of any power plant, which pumps the water back from the condenser pressure level to the boiler pressure level. So the pump's existence is not neglected. The presence of the pump is a must. But what we are neglecting for our convenience of calculation is that the amount of work associated with pumping is, because it is much less than the amount of output work that we obtain from the turbine, so very often we neglect pump work in comparison to WT. Okay, so in that case what happens? The output work becomes equal to net work becomes equal to WT, and efficiency of the plant, what is the efficiency of the plant? Efficiency of the plant is work output divided by heat input. So work output is H2 minus H3 divided by, this is H2 minus H1. What is the heat input? Heat input is given in the boiler. Heat input is given in the boiler only. Okay, so heat input is in the boiler, that is H2 minus H1, and work output is H2 minus H3, and pump work is neglected. So in that case efficiency is this. This is also equal to 1 minus Q2 by Q1. If you do Q2 by Q1, what is Q2? Q2 is this and Q1 is this. So there also you get the same thing. So this is the efficiency of a Rankine cycle power plant. So Rankine cycle power plant is governed by Kelvin-Planck statement of second law only, and there has to be a source, there has to be a sink, there has to be a process of heat addition, there has to be a process of heat rejection. So there is a process of heat rejection here, and there is a process of heat addition here, and all these things can be obtained from the steam table and Mollier chart. And what does a Mollier chart give you? It gives you the enthalpy values at various locations. So if you can locate point 2 and point 3, then you can find out H2 and H3, H4 and H1. And because you are neglecting pump work, H1 is equal to H4 or assumed to be equal to H4. So once you get these values, all these values can be obtained. Okay. Now, based on this knowledge, we will solve a simple problem. Let us solve a problem. Say, steam is generated at 50 bar and 300 degree centigrade. It expands in the turbine to a condenser at 0.1 bar. Find the efficiency of the cycle. Now say this is a simple problem. The boiler generates steam at what condition? It generates steam at 50 bar and 300 degree centigrade. So generate steam means which point it is talking about? It is talking about point 2. Point 2 is the exit to the boiler, comes out of the boiler. The steam comes out of the boiler at point 2 or at condition 2. What is condition 2? Condition 2 is 50 bar and 300 degree centigrade. Then it expands in the turbine to a condenser pressure of 0.1 bar. So which point this 0.1 bar is referred to? It is referred to the point 3, which is the entry to the condenser. 3 and 4 both are at pressure 0.1 bar, because that is a constant pressure line. It is an isobar, constant pressure as well as constant temperature line. So point 3 is 0.1 bar. And what else you know about point 3? The point 3 also lies exactly vertically down point 2. So point 2 का पता चल गया 50 bar and 300 degree centigrade. With these coordinates we can locate it in the Mollier diagram. So we get the point 2. From that we can draw a vertical which will cut the 0.1 bar line at some point. That point will be point 3, and after that point 4. What is point 4 after all? Point 4 is nothing but, our enthalpy at point 4 is nothing but HF at 0.1 bar. So you get the enthalpy value at 2, get the enthalpy value at 3, get the enthalpy value at 4. And coincidentally, since nothing is mentioned about pump work, we can neglect pump work. So H1 becomes equal to H4. Okay. So you know, by this you know H1, H2, H3, H4, all the 4 enthalpy values. If all the 4 enthalpy values are known, then getting the efficiency or getting the work output is very simple. So in this problem, how to proceed? First thing is draw the block diagram. Okay, draw the block diagram. Level them 1, 2, 3, 4. Then draw the TH diagram and then draw the HS diagram. These 3 diagrams you must draw. 2, 3, 4 and 1. One, 2, 3, 4. Okay. Now this is Ts, this is Hs. Now what is given? T2 is 300 degree centigrade and P2 is 50 bar. Then P3 is 0.1 bar, P4 is 0.1 bar. Okay, what else you can write? You can write H1 is equal to H4, neglecting pump work. If pump work is 0, is assumed to be 0, then H1 is equal to H4, right? Now, how to find out H2? H2 can be obtained from the Mollier diagram. And how to locate point 2 in the Mollier diagram? This point 2 is the point of intersection of the 50 bar pressure line and 300 degree temperature line. So 50 bar pressure line and 300 degree centigrade line, you find out H2. Say H2 is 2500 kilojoules per kg. Just for example, let this be the value. Then in the Mollier chart, you locate the point, put a pencil mark there and put your scale vertically down there and see where it is crossing the 0.1 bar line. So the lines are like this. So you see 0.1 bar line. So that 0.1 bar line, wherever it crosses, that point is point 3. Once you locate the point 3, then the corresponding H value is H3. So H3, say 2000 kilojoules per kg. Alright. And then H4 is how, what? This is H4 is on the saturated liquid line. So here the value is HF. So this point you will not find it in the Mollier diagram, you will find it in the steam table. So from the steam table you can find out HF at what pressure? What is the pressure at point 4? 0.1 bar. So HF value can be obtained from this. Say it is 200 kilojoules per kg. So what you get? H2 you get, H3 you get, and H4 you get. And H4 is equal to H1. So what is the efficiency? Efficiency is W by Q1. What is W? W is H2 minus H3 divided by H2 minus H1. So H1 is already known to you. H2 is known to you, all from Mollier diagram and steam table. So when you are writing H2 is equal to 2500 kilojoules per kg, you must write in bracket obtained from Mollier diagram. H3 is 200 kilojoules per kg obtained from Mollier diagram. H4 is 200 kilojoules per kg obtained from steam table. Like that, you have to refer to the source from which you are getting these values, either from the Mollier diagram or from the steam table. So there you write. Okay, then you put the values and it is only an arithmetic then. Okay, so this is how you can proceed and solve the problems on Rankine cycle. Alright, so this is one example, and these Rankine cycle that we are discussing now are simple Rankine cycles, means no modifications has been incorporated in these cycles. Okay, so in this cycle you can say 1 to 2 is a simple reversible constant pressure process, 2 to 3 is a isoentropic process, 3 to 4 is also a reversible isobar, 4 to 1 is also a reversible isoentropic process. So these processes are simple processes, ideal processes, and only 4 processes are there. No modification has been proposed. But when we will incorporate modifications into it in order to improve either the output or the efficiency of the cycle, then we will call them modified Rankine cycle. So there are 2 kinds of modifications that we will be discussing in this class. One is for reheating and one is for regeneration. One is for improving the efficiency of the plant and other one is for improving the power output of the plant. So these 2 modifications we will be discussing in the subsequent classes. So this much for today. In the next class, possibly we will go to the reheat Rankine cycle. Okay, thank you.